Hello and welcome to ASMR Who. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different again, mixing things up. And today I'm going to be talking about my collection, what I have of the Doctor Who Figurine Collection from Eagle Moss Hero Collector. Sorry. I did not collect these figures when they the figurines, I didn't start collecting them when they originally released, which was coming up to about 10 years ago now, I think, because they were originally released for the 50th anniversary. I don't think I started collecting them for about a year or so, maybe, and then I became a subscriber for a little while, so I have a reasonable number of figurines, but I don't have all of them, and I stopped subscribing for a while, so I just have a sort of a random assortment collection of different figurines and different releases. I have mostly just the normal figurines like this, but I also have one of the rare Daleks in the red boxes, and I have a deluxe exclusive, one of the bigger releases. I have one of those as well. So we're just going to go through the figurines that I have. We'll go through the magazines that I have first. I have two binders full of magazines, so we will start with talking about those. So the magazines came in these binders. They're a little bit big for the ever so slightly. Might just about fit there. The magazines, if you subscribed, you got these binders for them to put them in. So I have two binders of magazines, basically, and they're just sort of assorted. So we'll start. So you can see, you might be able to just see the image here. On the inside of the binders is sort of the roof of the 2013 TARDIS. I think that's what that's meant to be. So, issue 1 is the 11th Doctor from the Pandorica Opens. I'll go through this first magazine to get a sense of what was in each magazine, and then we'll just look at the covers of the rest of them. So, this first page, you get obviously your contents, talking about the figurine. Then you get a little bit about the story it's from, a feature of 50 years of Doctor Who, a feature about an element of the Doctor Who universe, questions about the story, and then a segment on a person involved with Doctor Who, basically. So you can see in this first page, Matt Smith is the Doctor, and the quote there, talking about the figurine and the episode and stuff. So this is about the figurine. This is a picture of what it looks like. And other appearances, other outfits for the 11th Doctor, of course, this Christmas look. Some of the hats and stuff there that he wore. Talking about the Pandorica Opens, and the moment that this figurine is based on. And again, talking about the episode Monsters in the Alliance over here. 1963. So this is the first year. And then you've got TARDIS here, feature about the TARDIS and the time vortex and stuff like that. And then the big ask, which is questions about the Pandora opens, and a feature here on just about Stephen Moffat. And then on the back, it talks about your next model and some of the featurettes, stuff like that. So yeah, we're not going to look through all the magazines page by page. We'll just flick through the rest of the magazines I've got, the figurines I've got. So, of course, part 2 here is Davros. You can see some of the 1964 there. Stuff like this. Part 3 is the Cyber Controller from the Age of Steel. Of course, lots of New Who stuff here. Part 4, of course, is a Weeping Angel from Flesh and Stone. So not from Blink, from Flesh and Stone. Just interesting that it's not. You would think they would make it from Blink, but it's not. I think they did later on do a Weeping Angel with the hands over the face, which I think might have been from Blink, but I don't have that figurine. Got a Silurian warrior from Cold Blood there, standard Silurian. We've got a Dalek here. This is from the episode Dalek. It's kind of odd that the first Dalek was issue 6. Well, I suppose if you've got Davros, but I would have thought you would make the Dalek issue 6 and Davros issue the Dalek issue 2 and Davros issue 6, but I guess not. And there are plenty of other Daleks in this collection. There's loads of Daleks in the figurine collection. I only have a few. I've only got 4, and plus Davros. You've got here Sontaran General Style. This is from The Poison Sky, Sontaran Stratagem, The Poison Sky. Issue 8 is the 10th Doctor from School Reunion of all stories, which is an interesting pick. Issue 9 is the Ice Warrior Grand Marshal Skaldak from Cold War, which I think at the time this was released. When was this released? It doesn't say, because it was a subscription, I suppose. It's got the price on it. How much was this in the UK? $6.99. That's a reasonable price, I think, for the magazine and the figurine. Yeah, fairly recent figurine at the time this collection was released. As I say, it started in 2013. So. You've got a Silent here. Well, here it says the Silent, and here it says the Silence. So, who knows? Let's have a look what it says inside. Silence can be deadly. You've got there the Silence, and just about this. I mean, to be fair, when you look at this picture and you look at this figurine, it's pretty spot on. Some more features about the Silence. I think the Silence are really cool Doctor Who monsters. It'd be interesting to see them come back, maybe. And then this is about Day of the Moon. More stuff about Day of the Moon, 1968. Now that's where we're at here. Daleks, enemies of the Daleks. The Big Ask and Kit Pedler. Part 11, you've got Rassilon from the End of Time. Part 12, you've got Ood Sigma from Planet of the Ood. And I think from here onwards is where my collection becomes very patchy and incomplete, so I'd miss out on issues and I miss out on certain figurines. From here on out, I think the one after this, the figurine after this, was the Supreme Dalek from The Stolen Earth and Journey's End, but I don't have that figurine. Yeah, see, so issue number 13 is the Supreme Dalek from The Stolen Earth. My collection jumps straight to issue 18, the Jadoon Captain from Smith and Jones, and then again I think it jumps again. Yeah, so issue 19 was a Skyro City Dalek. My collection goes straight to issue 26 with the Scarecrow from The Family of Blood. Issue 27, the 9th Doctor. So I did miss out on the 4th Doctor, but I didn't miss out on the 9th. Again, Boomtown is a very interesting story to make this figurine from, but sure. Issue 28 is the Morbius monster from the brain of Morbius, which, interestingly, if I'm going to go through the figurines later, but if I get the box for the Morbius monster, you can see I've got the box, and I've not got the figurine. I don't know where it is. I think it must have broken. I think maybe the claw here must have broken off, I think, and maybe we try to fix it, but yeah, I have the box for the Morbius figurine, but no figurine itself. It is not Morbin time, as it turns out. And I think that's the last issue. Issue 29, Catkind, which I do have that. I'll get my second binder here. This one. Part 29, issue 29 is Catkind. I don't know why it's called Catkind. The character's name is Brannigan, I think, but it's just Catkind. Yeah, figurine shows. It says here, Thomas Kincaid Brannigan. So it's interesting that officially it's just called Catkind, the Catkind. But, hey, it's really weird as well that, I mean, it's only issue 29 and we're already in very niche character territory. I mean, I love Brannigan, I love the character, I love the design, but it's very odd that we're already doing Brannigan on issue 29, you know. Yeah, and I think they did do a Novice Aim figurine as well later down the line, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I do not own that figurine. So this is talking about Gridlock, the story. 1977 is where we're at now. The Big Ask, and you've got David Tennant there. Feature on David Tennant. So, part 30 is the Sea Devil, which I got. Of course. I watched the Sea Devils recently on the Season 9 collection Blu-rays there. It's a good story, isn't it? Issue 31 is the Gunslinger collar deck. What's interesting as well, this doesn't seem to have a separate feature in it, in the content, so let's just have a look. So you've got, of course, your contents page and that stuff. You've got, see, this here says the Gunslinger, feature out on a town called Mercy, more stuff there. There's about a town called Mercy, Moment in Time. 50 years, 5 decades. Yeah, so the features, the other featurette in the magazine, that's been dropped, I guess, now, at this point. Issue 32 of the Cyber Leader from Earthshock. Issue 33, Madame Vastra from A Good Man Goes to War. And then, yeah, part 34 was the 5th Doctor. I'm not sure what's gone on there. I don't have that. I also missed out on the 4th. I got the 4 main New Who Doctors up until that point, so I got 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. And I don't think I got any other Doctors. I missed out on, 4th Doctor, 5th Doctor, 3rd Doctor, War Doctor. And by the time the 13th Doctor came around, I'd long since stopped with the collection, but yeah, at least I got the 4 main New Who Doctors. I got Robot, Vogue Robot, D84, Part 36, Part 37, the Draconian Prince. I love this figurine, that might be one of my favourites, I recall. Again, another very weird, obscure one is Jabe from The End of the World. It's a great figurine, but it's just odd that we got Jabe so early in the collection. Part 39 is the Genesis Dalek from, of course, Genesis of the Daleks. And part 40, here he is. The 12th Doctor from Flatline. You might just be able to hear a little bit of people, my family in the background there. 41. Issue 41 is the half-faced man from Deep Breath. Lots of what's the word? Series 8 stuff, that's what I'm trying to say. Lots of Series 8 characters now. We got the Pterodactyl leader from the Visitation, part 42. Part 43 is Rusty, the Good Dalek. Yeah, and this was my last main line. This was my last main figurine. Normal figurine in the collection. So what was after this? The original Mondas Cyberman from the 10th planet. But as you can see, I also got the Cyber King, which was a special edition from the next Doctor. So you see here, all this Christmas with the Doctor. So yeah, some of the Christmas appearances, Christmas special. Cyborg, so again this was released at a point where they were still doing these features. And then a feature on David Morrissey there. I also have this, which was released right at the start. I believe these 5 figurines here are from the sort of original test run. And this was released before it was actually got going. But you see here, it's sort of a guide to the collection and what it will entail. You've got all your issues there, with the exception of the 10th Doctor figurine is not here for whatever reason. And then you've got your rare Daleks. So yeah, there's 7 of these. They did do more eventually. And I did get a base for this because I got at least one of these figurines. I got this one, I got the Dalek Saucer Commander. But yeah, these look very, very cool. I mean, what have you got? You've got Oswin Dalek and you've got Dalek Sec and a movie Dalek, although they did the same thing the action figures did recently, the character options figures did, where they're first jungle Daleks from the chase. So technically they're not movie Daleks because they don't have the rights for them, but it's a movie Dalek. And then do some other classic Daleks that are back there. And then, yeah, this is sort of a double page spread on all the different Doctors and some of their most notable enemies and stuff. There. And then a little bit more about the figurine and about what you get in the magazine. So this was basically, designed to sell the collection right at the start of its run. At the when it was released, this was designed to promote it and sell it. I did get this Dalek Emperor, which was great. I believe it arrived a little bit damaged, maybe, and then it got fully broken. It was very precariously balanced on something, and it just fully fell off and smashed into loads of pieces. Which was very sad, but I should have been more careful with it. The last little magazine before we start looking at the figurines themselves is this tiny little one for the Saucer Commander Dalek, the Rare Dalek. I only got the one Rare Dalek. I got Rare Dalek number 3. My subscription was very spotty, and I just sort of got random things at random times, which I think is probably partially why I stopped, and also, financially. And this is a very little magazine, so you've got a little bit about the figurine there and the Dalek design. This one was, I believe the Saucer Commander Dalek exists because they didn't have time to finish painting the Dalek to be black, to be the Black Dalek, the Supreme Dalek of that story. So they did a bit, and then it's in like episode 2. There's a Saucer Commander Dalek, and then in like episode 3, which they filmed a week later, it's fully black, and it just becomes a Black Dalek from that point on. And then a little bit, very, very small bit about the story here. I really like the Dalek Invasion of Earth. I know for a lot of people, it's not their favourite Dalek story, certainly 60s Dalek story, but of the 60s Dalek stories I've seen, I think this one might be my favourite. What have I seen? I've seen the Daleks, this story, the Dalek Invasion of Earth, the Chase, and the Power of the Daleks. I did really like the Chase and the Power of the Daleks. It's been a long time since I watched the Daleks, and it was one of the first classic Doctor Who stories I watched, and it's 7 parts, so I just didn't care for it. But yeah, I really like the Dalek Invasion of Earth. I think it's an underrated story. Maybe the movie is a bit better, but I like both the TV version and the movie version. So those are the magazines. So we'll look a little bit now at the figurines themselves. We'll go in order. So you see here the 11th Doctor. I don't know whether or not I'm going to get all of these out. I might get some of them out. But we'll take it off. Now the thing with the collection, with the figurine collection, is that, as you can see, that was quite loud, there's a lot of plastic here. It's not great for the environment. I don't know that it's changed much in the 10 years that they've been doing these. And of course, e-commerce era collector last year or so went into administration, I think, and so the figurine collection is basically coming to an end. The last couple of figures that were going to be released and were sort of manufactured are being released. Stuff from Minister, and the Sontaran on a horse, and a couple others. I think a Mavellan and Belahal from Death to the Daleks, I think. But other than that, I think the collection's more or less at an end, which is a shame because I think it had a great life, and I loved how, although I didn't collect it for more than about a year or so myself, and I've only got maybe 30, 40 figures in total. I really liked the figurine collection, and I loved seeing it expand from afar, just as a spectator. You know, I loved how they started doing variants of the Doctors and companions and TARDIS consoles, and expanding into different things that they were doing in terms of special editions, and you know, like having a Sontaran on a horse, and it was great how they did the Time Lord sets, and they tied into Time Lord Victorious, and I don't think it ever got made or released, but they announced they were going to start doing like story-specific sets. I think they announced like an Image of the Fendal set with 3 figurines from that story, and one of them was a bigger one, stuff like that. I think it expanded really well and really naturally, and I think it was such a shame to see the figurine collection end the way it did, because I think it could have just gone on and on, because there's always new Doctor Who to make figurines out of, but there's plenty of stuff, older stuff that hadn't been made. So yeah, I think it's a shame that the figurine collection ended when it did, but it was great while it lasted. So I'll show you a little bit up close. I'll try and get it to focus here on the figurine. As you can see, this is one of the first ones, so the paint applications are a little bit slapdash, I suppose you could say. He's got your skin coloured hair a little bit there, but I think actually, all things considered, the detail is really, really good on these, and on the bottom it's just it's just got the name of the figurine and a little code and stuff there, identification code, I imagine. But yeah, I love the bases as well. They're sort of a felt colour, so it can just go on any surface, and it's not going to be, it's not going to damage it or anything, which is great. And yeah, you know, the texturing of the jacket and the shirt and everything. I mean, you can feel the texture of the buttons on his shirt. Just running my finger up and down it there. I think it's a great little thing. It's not massive, but it's not too small. It's a good little size. Yeah, I really like these figurines. I mean, you look up there. It's not doesn't look much like Matt Smith, does it? But that's figurine number 1. So. Place it back in there, put it in the right way around. So number 2 is Davros. As you can see, my box here is a little bit bent out of shape, a little bit battered. Crikey, nearly dropped that then. I'm not really sure what's happened with this box, but yeah, it's a little bit it's a bit crooked. I really liked these boxes though. I liked the presentation of the boxes, these little things that you can I mean, maybe not this one, is not the best way to demonstrate it, but the fact that you can just stand them up like that, and you can sort of display the figurines in the box, and you can display the boxes, you know, as their own little collection. I love that as well. it's a great figurine. Lots of great detail there. And again, on the bottom there. And of course all your legal stuff on the bottom of the bottom of the box. Number 3, if we got the cyber controller. Now as you can see here, he's missing a handlebar. I don't know if I broke that or if it came like that. Yeah, these figurines sometimes, you know, they're very small and they are quite fragile, so sometimes things did break off. As I say with my Morbius figurine, it's that was so broken that I just don't have it anymore. I've just got an empty box. But yeah, this is the cyber controller. Yeah, which is very interesting that this is the first Cyberman figurine you do, rather than just a standard Cyberman. The same with Davros, I suppose you do Davros instead of a normal Dalek, but yeah, I think it's great, and I think if we just pull that out there, if you look at the finish on this, it's got a really great, almost sort of, I don't know, I'm not sure how to describe it, but the finish on this is really, really lovely. It's such a shame about that handlebar. And yeah, I mean, if I'd have been properly collecting these from the start and everything, I would have loved to have had a full collection. And I think I seem to recall everyone who had problems with figurines being broken and stuff. Eagle Moss were always really, really good in terms of the customer service and in terms of replacing broken figurines and stuff, which is great. It's a little bit louder than I intended. Number 4, you've got your Weeping Angel from Flesh and Stone. Not much to show there. Again, this one might have. I know I said I wasn't going to get them all out. I'm not. I wasn't intending on getting them all out, but there's a bit of fluff or something there on that plastic. These have been mostly in a cardboard box in a cupboard for however many years, so they're a little bit. The boxes are a little bit scuffed and a little bit dirty, maybe, but the figurines themselves are still in really great condition, and they're not, because they've been kept in their boxes, they're not covered in dust or anything, which is great. I mean, yeah, it's a great. Hard to get a Weeping Angel likeness because the hand is right there, but yeah, it's a lovely figurine. That not quite the same finish as the cyber controller, but great nonetheless. Pop that in there. I'm trying to do this as quietly as possible. It's a little bit more difficult than I imagine it might be, actually. Here we are, number 5. Silurian Warrior from Cold Blood. So this is one where it's yeah, it's sort of sideways and you display the figure more sort of that way when you're displaying it yourself, but still good, still fun. Not going to get that out. And then here we have figurine number 6, which is a Dalek from Dalek. The interesting thing to note with this figurine is that at the bottom here, and I'll just get it out quickly so you can see, is that there's nothing on the bottom. Well, there's detail on the bottom, but there's no tags, which they did do for Davros, as you can see there, but not for the Dalek, it seems. I think, and it's no surprise really, but I think the Daleks are the best parts of this collection, the figurine collection, because the paintwork is always pretty good on a Dalek. It's not, they're fairly simple paint-wise, and you don't have a likeness to mess up. Doesn't matter if it doesn't look like Matt Smith. A Dalek looks like a Dalek, and there's so many different variations where this collection really excelled at, where like the action figures can't, because you have to retool. If you're making a new action figure of lots of different Daleks, you have to remold it and remanufacture it every time. But with the figurine collection, it's less difficult to you're gonna make new molds for every release anyway, and so you can make lots of different unique Daleks, whilst also they still made use of the same molds a number of times, very similar molds. There's lots of versions of just this Dalek in particular. You had the you've got this one, you've got Dalek Sec, you've got the Oswin Dalek, you've got Rusty the Good Dalek from Into the Dalek, you've got the Crucible Dalek, you've got the Dalek Guard. I think they did a version which was from Parting of the Ways, which was just this Dalek without the gold band running around the bottom. This Dalek in Dalek is the only time that's ever seen. The rest of the time it's always a bronze band. But yeah, I think the Daleks, they just look great. The figurines look great. I understand why they didn't get the bases like the other characters, because a Dalek doesn't need a base. But the thing with that's a little bit of a shame is that because of that, if I just get back again, I'll get out this Matt Smith figurine. Is that Matt Smith is therefore much taller than the Dalek, which he is anyway, but in reality he's that much taller than he should be. But in terms of the figurines, he's that much taller, he's a lot taller. And even that seems quite a big difference. Yeah, so it's very odd that well, it's not odd that the dogs don't get the same hexagonal bases, because they don't need it, but it's a shame that they subsequently, there's a height difference between them and normal figurines. So we'll pop the 11th Doctor back. I'll pop this Dalek back here. So yeah, I think the Daleks are probably the best figurines in the whole collection. They just suit being action figures, figurines. The design is so effortlessly, I don't know what you would say. I was going to say toyetic, but these figurines aren't toys. They're figurines. They're display items. But yeah, it's not hard to see why people love the Daleks and love collecting Daleks. Next it was this guy. Again, so you can see the plastic's a little bit crooked at parts here. This guy is Sontaran General style. You can see here. It's good. Not my favourite Sontaran design, but still decent. I'm not going to get him out. Then you have the 10th Doctor, which again doesn't look much like David Tennant. Looks like a little boy, if anything, but, you know, still good to have the 10th Doctor, nonetheless. There. Then it was, if I remember correctly, it's, yeah, the Ice Warrior. Now you can see the Ice Warrior if we just bring the 10th Doctor back up. Most of the figurines come in this size box. So like the 10th Doctor and the 11th Doctor has the same size box, and the Silurian, the Silurian's a bit of a smaller box, and the Sontaran's a smaller box there, you can see, so the boxes vary in size a little bit. Got the type of controller, that's a smaller box as well, is it? Just about, yeah. And of course the Daleks come in these small square boxes. But the Ice Warrior comes in this much bigger box. So if you compare the Ice Warrior box to like the Sontaran, it's a big difference. Take 10th Doctor out of the way there. Yeah, this is a good figurine. I like this figurine, I seem to remember. Yeah, I think the Ice Warrior design, the modern series Ice Warrior design, that's quite bright light. I'm just trying to shield it from the light there. But I think it's a really great design, a really great update of the classic design. Yeah, and this is a great figurine. It's a good face detail there, teeth and everything. Issue number 10. There's the Silent, which again, you can see has another bigger box like the Ice Warrior. And this is another one where you would probably display it more like this, slide on, a bit like the Silurian. And again, on the bottom there, there's nothing on the bottom of this one, for whatever reason, I'm not sure why that is. Yeah, so this says Silent, so I think individually they are a Silent, but collectively they are the Silent. I don't know, it's very confusing. Then it was Rassilon, wasn't it? Yeah, Rassilon from the End of Time. As you can see here, his staff is a little bit crooked, a little bit wonky. I imagine that was something that for a lot of people maybe arrived broken or ended up broken. Because that's very, there's nothing, that's his cloak, but there's nothing, you can get your finger in there, it's totally freestanding and just on its own. It's a great figurine, but I imagine that was quite fragile for a lot of people. Does it look like Timothy Dalton? Not really, or they're not the worst. It sort of looks a little bit like Chris Eccleston, weirdly. Maybe that, do you think? Well, maybe it doesn't. Then, if I can find the next one. Here. It's Sigma. Number 12, it's Sigma. Yeah, I think this is really great. I love the fact that he's holding the little cup and you can just about see there. Can you? That does indeed. I might have to get this one out just to show that little bit of detail. Is that going to focus? looks like it's just about. Yeah, there is. You can't really see on camera because it's so small, but there is space in that little cup. Yeah, you can just about see it there. So it's not just a clear bit of plastic stuck in his hand. That is a little cup, and I love that this is sort of clearish as well. Yeah, it's great. It's a lovely figurine. And then I think my next one was this bad boy, the Jadoon Captain. Although it says Commander, but he's not. He's a Captain from Smith and Jones. I know they did a figurine for the Jadoon from Series 12 with the Mohican. I don't know if it was the same pose as this. I don't think it was. I think it was a different one. I'm not sure. But yeah, love that. Jadoon. Right. Bear with me a second. Just trying to work out what was next. I've lost track a little bit. The next one is a Scarecrow from the family of Blood, which, again, this is a really interesting. That's odd that the name of the episode here is in just written normally, but here it's all uppercase. Curious. Yeah, but this is great, and this looks like another one with a really great texture and detail. Yeah, I mean the feel of this. You know, that this mask and stuff here, and the detail of everything. The Scarecrows were always a really great design. They were a really popular monster design when I was a kid. When I was growing up, you know, I grew up with the Tennant years and the Smith years, and yeah, these were always one of the most notable monster designs. They're just very simple, but I think what works about them is that I've not seen many Scarecrows in my real life, but I've never seen a Scarecrow that looks like that, but you can tell what it's meant to be. So it's sort of, it's something that you know, that you recognise, but yeah, I think it's a great design because it's that sort of almost uncanny valley thing of you recognise what it is, but it doesn't quite look right. It's yeah, it's great. So that's 26. I think number 27 then is the Ninth Doctor here in his classic good old Ninth Doctor arms folded pose. Does he look like Chris Eccleston? Actually, that's not bad. That might be one of the best likenesses. I mean, I've not got many with human faces to compare to, but that's pretty good, isn't it? That's pretty good. So yeah, not much more to say about the Ninth Doctor. Just good to have the figurine. Then number 28, yeah, was this guy, was Morbius, but I don't have anything to show for him. I've no figurine, unfortunately. Then number 29 was this guy. Oh wow, his box is quite literally falling apart. That's unfortunate. This guy, Kind Brannigan. He's got a very grey face, doesn't he? that's quite terrifying. Yeah, the sort of fading of the fur, of the colours of the fur, hasn't quite worked with that one. That's a bit horrible, actually. Not horrible, but it's a little bit creepy. Then we have the Sea Devil. Of course, from the Sea Devils. This is quite tall, I seem to remember. You bring in the Ninth Doctor here, who's on hand. Yeah, you can see the Sea Devil. He's a tall guy, he's a tall boy. Yeah, but a great figurine. I really like the Sea Devil design, and I love the fact that that when they came back in Legend of the Sea Devils last year, that the design was near enough exactly the same as it was in the original story. I think as well they were going to do a figurine of the main Sea Devil, the Jew Sea Devil from Legend of the Sea Devils, but obviously they went into administration and it never happened. But it would have been great to see, because I think it's a great design. Then we have this guy, the Gunslinger Karlatek, very wide open pose with his legs there. But this is great. I love this design. I love the design of the Gunslinger. I really like A Town Called Mercy. I think it's a great episode. That's weird. It looks like where they've put the quotation marks. It doesn't quite work, does it? Doesn't quite make sense. But yeah. But I really like this design for the Gunslinger. And it's great to get him in the figurine collection. Then, number 32, another Cyberman, another broken off handlebars. The same one as well as this guy. They're both times is on the left hand side, and actually I'll get this one out as well, because not only did this one, I've only just noticed this as well. I'd forgotten. Not only is this one got a broken, handlebar, he's also got a broken arm, which, as you can see, an attempt was made to fix it with glue via DIY. If I recall, I think that it might have been me who did that, but I want to blame my father, who tried his best, bless him, but didn't quite work. But it's a great design to have, nonetheless. But yeah, it's a shame that that's a bit wobbly there. It's a shame that one ended up so broken, because it's a great design of Cyberman. I do like the 80s Cyberman. Ah well. Then we have Madame Vastra, another Silurian. This is from A Good Man Goes to War. Not much much else to say about a good manga, about this figure or the episode. Actually, I like a good manga as to war, but yeah, not much else to add about Vastra there. Number 33. I'm just trying to make sure I'm going through them. Yeah, I think I missed 35, didn't I? Because it was the 5th Doctor, maybe. So I'm next on to. This is D84 from the Robots of Death. He's one of the good guys, right? I seem to recall. You've got his face there and everything, and his little designation tag there. I like this design for the robots from the Robots of Death. I think it's great. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched the Robots of Death, but I enjoyed it. So that's 36. Then we have the Draconian Prince, number 37, from Frontier in Space. This is a great design. I think the Draconians look really good. I think they're one of the best monster designs of the 3rd Doctor era, and I think John Pertwee agrees with that, actually, if I recall. So yeah, that is great. That's 37. Number 38, you've got Jabe. You can see her plastic hair is quite bashed. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, again, it's very strange that we got figures like Jabe and Kind Brannigan and even Madame Vastra to an extent, so early on. You could understand if, now, 200 figurines later, we were getting characters like Jabe, but number 38 is very early to be doing, characters this obscure, but still a great figurine, of course. Number 39, we've got another Dalek. This one's got the thing on the bottom, so unlike that first Dalek, unlike that bronze Dalek, he's a little bit crook-eyed, this guy, isn't he, actually? Yeah, this one's got a base on it. I think that might be because you never saw the underside of these Daleks, but of course the bronze Daleks, we've seen them fly and we know what they look like underneath, so I suppose that's why they did that detail, which I don't think they had to, but they did do anyway. But yeah, it's another great figurine, of course. The Daleks always look great as figurines, and yeah, this Genesis Dalek is no different. It's a great design. Try to slot this back in without making too much noise. Oh, that's hang on. There we go, safe and sound. The only problem is that this is a little bit loose in its box. I mean, it's not now, but it was a little bit loose then. Maybe it isn't, maybe who knows. So that was number 39. And then the last ones 12th Doctor. Number 40. See, again, we're back to all caps titles for episodes. When did that? Moon? I don't know what happened there. Let's have a look. Does he look much like Capaldi? That's, again, he looks a little bit crazy. And he's got sort of weirdly pursed lips. He is staring into my soul a little bit, but not awful, actually. Sort of like Paul O'Grady. Rest in peace to Paul O'Grady, of course. Yeah, it's a decent enough likeness, and I think it's a really great pose for the figurine. You might expect them to do that pose that he did in the costume announcement picture, which would have made a great figurine, but I like this. It's a little bit more subdued. Then, of course, we have the half-face man from Deep Breath, who has got his flamethrower there, and his hand on his coat and everything. It's a really fun design, the half-face man. Does he look much like the actor? Is it going to focus? Sort of. Yeah, they've sort of got the actor's face there. That's decent. Number 42 was the pteroleptal leader from The Visitation, which is a good story. I enjoyed it, but I think the pose of this figurine really shows how limiting the costumes ended up being. As much as the animatronic masks are really good, the rest of the costume for the pteroleptals are less good. You see, the back here, this big old fish tail, basically. But, still a good design, alien design. And then the last main blue box the figurine I've got is Rusty, the good Dalek. Again, I'm going to get this out because the Daleks are great. It's quite loud. And this one's got so much additional detail on it. And I love the fact as well that the head is not straight on. I'm trying to tell if that's deliberate or not. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I love this figurine. I love how, stuff like this. And I think that's what's great about the figurine collection is that, if you were going to do an action figure of Rusty, the good Dalek, you would not be able to make it as detailed as this and as unique as this. You won't be able to do stuff like, have some of the bumps missing and all these connections and this, whatever this thing is hanging over here, because the amount of retooling and resculpting and stuff that would be required for an action figure would just be unfeasible. But for the figurine collection, and again, this has got the detailed base, but for the figurine collections, they can do stuff like that with the Daleks. It's not just a simple repaint of an existing sculpt, an existing mould. It's gonna have to do the same here. It's an entirely new piece, and I think that is I think that's the great thing about these figurines and the figurine collections, especially in terms of the Daleks. And I think that was why I always found it a shame, if I can, I love that about the figurine collection, and that was why I always found it a shame that this guy, this pose for the Cyberman, this got reused multiple times. They used it for a standard Cyberman, they used it for a damaged Cyberman, they used it for the one-armed Pandorica Guard Cyberman. They're all doing this walking pose. And it's like, alright, the Daleks aren't posed necessarily, but they seemed a bit more unique and different compared to the Cybermen, but it is what it is. So the last two to show you are, first of all, we've got this. So this is Special Dalek, Red Dalek 3, the Saucer Commander, and the Dalek Invasion of Earth. Now I love this Dalek design. I like these red boxes as well for the Rare Dalek, the Special Daleks. But I really, really like the Dalek Invasion of Earth designs. I love the Dalek Saucer Commander as a design, and I love the thicker bases. I love the dish on the back. I love this. I'm not a big fan of slats on Daleks, so I love this stuff here. And we'll get out the bronze Dalek to compare them. It's a bit of a mess here. Height-wise, these actually aren't that much bigger height-wise than these ones, all things considered. Let's have a look at this guy. How is he? Is he smaller? Maybe smaller. Yeah, see, he's not much. He's not much. Oh yeah, no, actually, it's fairly noticeable, the difference. If you put it sort of up here, that's a difference in the heights between the original Daleks. I think, or maybe they were extra bases. It's quite hard to tell. Basically, it's a conclusion I've come to, how tall each Dalek is compared to each other at this scale. Trying to do it at this angle, certainly. But, yeah. But I think the Daleks all look great. And yeah, I think this might be my favourite Dalek design. Body-wise, yeah. I love it. I've got to put all these Daleks on right now. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to cut some of these because the sounds they're making is just horrendous. And so the final figurine I've got to show you is this bad boy. This is a special edition Cyber King, and he is massive. Now I'm going to get this out to show you how big he is. There's a lot of plastic. I mean, you look at how tall that is because of this weapon attachment. Yeah, but this is a wonderful design. Now, of course, the Cyber King is not to scale. They did a few of these models, like the Dalek Emperor that I shattered, and like, I'm just trying to find one of the Doctors. We'll get the 12th Doctor out. And like the Beast from the Satan bit, where it's not to scale, but it is, you look at the size difference. There's a big size difference there. I mean, you can't really even get them both on camera fully. The angle it's a little bit odd that I think initially I was a bit unsure about having special releases that were just totally out of scale, because of course in the episode the characters are in the mouth just here, but I think if I'd have stayed with the collection I wouldn't have minded as much, because they then released stuff like the Beast and a couple of other things I think that were possibly a little bit out of scale. I'm not sure, but this is a great piece to have, even if it is a little bit out of place with some of the other releases I have. So yeah, that is about it. Those are my figurines from the Doctor Who Figurine Collection. Those are all the figurines that I have, that I ever got. As I said, I stopped getting the figurines, the figurine collection. I was a subscriber for a little while, and I stopped. I don't remember the specific reasons why, but yeah. But I still liked seeing the new things, new figurines that were being released, and stuff like that. So yeah. Did you collect the figurine collection? If so, what? How many did you collect? Did you get all of it? Are you still getting the figurines now? The last few that are being released. Did you enjoy the collection? Did you stop getting the collection? I'd be interested to hear what people think of the figurine collection. And if you did get the figurine collection, what was your favourite figurine that was released? I'm not sure what mine would be. I think I love the Daleks, but there's plenty of figurines that I really, really liked. So yeah, I wish in an ideal world where I had all the money I could ask for, I would have loved to have got every figurine that they ever made, but alas, we do not live in that world. But yeah, that is about it for today's video, this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it tingly. It might not have been entirely successful. I suspect I might have to cut out a lot of the squeaking and pulling of the getting the boxes and the plastic in and out. But I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. A little bit of a look down memory lane of what is soon to become a relic of Doctor Who merchandise. And like and subscribe if you like that, if you're still here, if you're still awake, and I will see you in another video.